In the beginning, there was only he in the empty darkness. Einan saw the great primordial dragon flew through the emptiness, carried by his giant black wings, all the while growing more and more tired of his vast loneliness. Eventually his flight slowed, and then stopped, as Einan saw fell into a deep slumber. As he slept, his breath drew in rocks that caught in his scales, building, until the great dragon was no longer visible beneath. This would come to be known as Aefalyn. Asleep beneath the hulking rock, it wasn't long before Einan's soul began to dream. He dreamt of the elements that make up the chaos of the plains, and as he dreamt, he birthed his whelps. Estecan of fire, Tabomak of water, Rastius of earth, Onalir of air. From the moment of their being, the four fought, each believing that they were the only one worthy of creating the world in their image. Where Estecan's fury and Rastius' strength struck, land was created, and while Tabomak submerged the world in water, Onalir was mercurial, deciding that while he detested his siblings, he need not war with them. He instead worked to contain their creation within a translucent veil of air. It was not long before the others took notice. Incensed and betrayed, they attacked him at once. Where his body fell, beaten, bruised, and bloody, a tomb of crystal formed around him, created from the energies of his plane, spilling through his wounds. The other whelps continued to war among themselves, until they each fell in turn. As he fell, Estecan's flames drew the land up high around him, and so the Fymetra Mountains were born. Rastius' energy enriched the ground where he lay in the Vale of Viradios, and an abundance of life sprung forth, filling the valley with forests and fey creatures. Even as she lay wounded, Tabomak continued her attempts to submerge Aefalyn. Even now, her crystal leaks pure, untainted water, infusing the surrounding islands of Arnon with her power. In a final form of rebellion, Onalir caused his islands to rise into the sky and float. To this day, Aetheros remains, high above the plains of his siblings. As the plains quieted, it seemed all of Aefalyn had been irrevocably touched by one of the whelps. All, that is, but one. Though the continent in the very center, now known as Telushiel, had been spared from the destruction of the Great Fall, it was far from untouched. Each of the whelps' vast energies overlapped here. Their shared power saturated the land, acting as a catalyst for mortal life to begin.